If we represent the winter of our northern climate by a rugged, snow-clad mountain, and summer by a broad, fertile plain, then the intermediate belt, the hilly and breezy uplands, will stand for spring, with March reaching well up into the region of the snows and April lapping well down upon the greening fields and unloosened currents, not beyond the limits of winter's sallying storms, but well within the vernal zone, within the reach of the warm breath and subtle, quickening influences of the plain below. The senses, sight, hearing, smell, are as hungry for its delicate and almost spiritual tokens as the cattle are for the first bite of its fields. How it touches one and makes him both glad and sad. The voices of the arriving birds, the migrating fowls, the clouds of pigeons sweeping across the sky are filling the woods, the elfin horn of the first honeybee venturing abroad in the middle of the day, the clear piping of the little frogs in the marshes at sundown, the campfire in the sugar bush, the smoke seen afar, rising over the trees, the tinge of green that comes so suddenly on the sunny knolls and slopes, the full translucent streams, the waxing and warming sun, how these things and others like them are noted by the eager eye and ear. The west wind came the other day, fraught with a perfume that was to the sense of smell what a wild and delicate strain of music is to the ear. It was almost transcendental. I walked across the hill with my nose in the air, taking it in. It lasted for 2 days. I imagined it came from the willows of a distant swamp, whose catkins were affording the bees their first pollen, or did it come from much farther, from beyond the horizon, the accumulated breath of innumerable farms and budding forests? The main characteristic of these odors is their uncloying freshness. They are not sweet, they are oftener bitter, but they are penetrating and lyrical. I know well the odors of May and June, of the world of meadows and orchards bursting into bloom. But they are not so ineffable and immaterial and so stimulating to the sense as the incense of April. One characteristic April feature, and one that delights me very much, is the perfect emerald of the spring runs while the fields are yet brown and sere, strips and patches of the most vivid velvet green on the slopes and in the valleys. How the eye grazes there, and it is filled and refreshed. I had forgotten what a marked feature this was until I recently rode in an open wagon for 3 days through a mountainous pastoral country, remarkable for its fine springs. Those delicious green patches are yet in my eye. The fountains flowed with May. Where no springs occurred, there were hints and suggestions of springs about the fields and by the roadside in the freshened grass, sometimes overflowing a space in the form of an actual fountain. The water did not quite get to the surface in such places, but it sent its influence. Is there anything like a perfect spring morning? One hardly knows what the sentiment of it is, but it is something very delicious. It is youth and hope. It is a new earth and a new sky. How the air transmits sounds, and what an awakening, prophetic character all sounds have. The distant barking of a dog, or the lowing of a cow, or the crowing of a cock seems out of the heart of nature, and a call to come forth. The great sun appears to have been reburnished, and there is something in this first glance above the eastern hills, and the way his eye beams dart right and left, and smite the rugged mountains into gold that quickens the pulse and inspires the heart.